Governor Otti's assurance. The Abia State Governor Alex Otti has publicly stated that Nnamdi Kanu, leader of the indigenous people of Biafra, IPOB, will in no distant future regain his freedom. And this is coming at a time that people are saying he is not going to be released soon. Otti said he has been engaging with President Bola Tinubu, who he claims is favorably disposed to Kanu's release. That is big man talking, so we cannot dispute that. Let us listen to the claims and I will be right back. Let's listen to what he said about the release.
Let me quickly respond to some of the comments, particularly the one made by distinguished Senator Enyinnaya Baribe Mmagandibo. Thank you for joining us, for making the request for the release of Nnamdi Kanu. I can assure you that I am engaging with Mr. President, and he is favorably disposed to it. And I'm sure that in no distant future, Nnamdi Kanu will regain his freedom.
See the way it was for us. Carry on my time for your head.
I also want to respond to some of the comments about partnership with Mr. President. It is important to note that Mr. President and I have been friends for decades. And I know this president, whatever he wants to do, he will tell you. If he will not do it.
He also said that Southeast governors are involved in political negotiations with the federal government in efforts to resolve Kanu's case. I think we should give it to them. We just pray and hope that it comes to pass soon. This assurance follows the background of legal actions, many court rulings, and public agitation advocating for Kanu's release. That has been going on for a very long time now.
City, Aba, in Abia State, Biafra land. This is a rally holding today in the honor of our director, Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, protesting, asking Nigerian government to release him unconditionally, as the court has already said. No further delay. All these young people are protesting, asking Nigerian government to release Nnamdi Kanu.
Watch some of the reactions here and we'll take it off from there. Despite optimistic pronouncement, a number of factors underpin widespread skepticism. And these are some of the reasons why some people are pessimistic about his freedom. This is Nigeria, anything can happen. So you don't have to blame anyone for any ill feeling towards that. One, court rulings against release. That is another pending issue. A recent court rejected a request for Kanu to be freed, finding that prosecutors had presented sufficient evidence for him to stand trial. So why not? The Supreme Court recited terrorism charges last year, and you know anything that borders on terrorism is a serious case. That is one of the hurdles he has to pass through. Second, legal procedural complexities in Nigeria. You know how complex legal processes are in Nigeria. There are serious legal issues around his forceful extradition from Kenya. That one too. This has an international involvement. Some argue that international and local laws were breached, of which it has to be looked into. His defense, or that is the defense counsel, has made motions such as no case submissions, arguing that the prosecution has not made a sufficient case before trial. These are technical issues anyway, and can be and have been rejected by the court and the prosecution. So that is another serious thing. And then the third aspect of it is the political risk. Kanu's case is not just legal, but deeply political. That is why it has been so. His continued detention is symbolic for many in the southeast. Any release will likely provoke strong reactions. Some might just be in support, but definitely there's a provision for backlash. Authorities may fear that freeing him could be seen in some quarters, parentheses, in some quarters, as conceding to separatist pressure. So they need to be very careful or watchful about that. The fourth one is past promises versus the outcomes. There have been previous assurances of release or optimistic projections by the government. For example, that he was hopeful of being released in April 2015 this year. What happened? Which have not materialized. So that is one of the reasons why people are very skeptical about it. Court deadlines such as rulings on no case submissions or motions have been pushed, and in many instances, the outcomes have not favored Kanu's immediate freedom. So that also is another reason why people feel concerned about his release. Then the fifth point now is judicial independence and credibility concerns. Some Nigerians wonder how much quiet negotiations, in parentheses, quiet negotiations or political assurances can override final court judgments or constitutional restraint. So if it is something that the court says or the constitution says, this is it, how are we going to navigate over that? The National Judicial Council has denied ordering for Kanu's release when such reports circulated, which raises questions about information accuracy and transparency. That is one aspect of it again. Problem of fake information being circulated. Sometimes what you see in the social media is quite different from the reality. And then that too is a cause for concern. Let us analyze Governor Otti's claim as a possibility and the conditions at which Kanu is going to be freed. Given the mix of legal, political, and social realities, is Governor Otti's claim believable? That is the question. It's a very big question. Short answer to it is possibly, but conditional and not guaranteed soon. Yes, may not be guaranteed. This release may not be guaranteed soon. Here are scenarios that might support the claim. One, a favorable legal ruling, that is, no case submission, accepted, or court finds bail is justified, could open the door to release him. When they accept on that no case submission, it might just be possible. Political win by the presidency, supported by Southeast political leadership, prioritizing resolving this issue, possibly as a peace and stability measure. That also can guarantee them. Then negotiations might gain traction. That's another possible way. Pressure from courts and international decisions. For example, the Kenyan High Court recently declared the rendition unlawful. These legal proceedings can create momentum in Nigeria. The defense counsel or his team, legal team, can argue on that since it has been the judgment has been delivered already. But to release him happen so soon, hurdles need to be cleared. There must be sort of work to be done. That is, all court procedures must be respected, which can take time. Of course, you know the court proceedings in Nigeria, how long it takes. That's another thing. Security agencies and the prosecuting authorities need to agree, or at least not resist release, which may require political compromise. That's another sure way of which he can regain his freedom. The government must balance law and order that concerns political appeasement, ensuring that release will not be interpreted as weakness or give rise to unrest. That is another point or basis at which he may just regain his freedom soon. And then critique of the pessimistic view, we have to consider their own view as well. Those who doubt that Kanu will regain freedom soon are not without reason. They have their own reasons, and I think they are right. But some critics and their perspective are warranted. They are. And that is over-reliance on past failures. It has happened. But because previous promises haven't been fulfilled, doesn't mean none will. It will happen one day. Political dynamics change. New governments, new government actors, new procedures, domestic or international, can change things. New legal findings can shift possibilities. It is possible. For example, like the one we talk about, Kenya judgment, ignoring legal momentum. There are rulings, court orders, and internationally visible legal decisions that favor or at least challenge the basis of his detention. I've just given an instance. Example, around the illegality of the extradition, to dismiss all hope, ignores those. Just ignore those ones, and then everything can go. Then another thing, underestimating political bargaining. It's not unusual in highly charged political cases for release to come about through negotiation, compromise, sometimes even behind the scenes. Of course, it is happening. It's possible. All those negotiations, bargaining, the involvement of regional governors, senators, and the rest, and the fact that Otti says he is engaging with Mr. President suggests this is underway. Let us be pessimistic. Pessimism sometimes treats statements as mere rhetoric, but in politics, that is not always the case. It is not. If the government consistently promises release but does nothing about it, pessimism becomes self-fulfilling. We should try to avoid that, watch over that. But cheering or expecting nothing may also dampen civic pressure that could help accelerate resurrection. That is the situation we've just found ourselves now about Kanu's case. And something needs to be done about it so that he regains his freedom. And in conclusion, Governor Otti's assertion that Nnamdi Kanu will soon regain his freedom is bold, and while it has plausible underpinnings, the skepticism many feel is also justified given the legal and political obstacles that remain. How would we overcome those ones? Whether or not this freedom is imminent depends heavily on local decisions, that's the legal decisions, the strength of political will, and whether the federal authorities are ready, not just to promise, but to act this time around. Let us see their actions. And for many observers, soon remains vague, and there is a gap between words, assertions, and outcomes. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe to my channel for more, and don't forget to drop your comments on that.